1 second. 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Habaragani. Today is the third day of Kwanzaa where we celebrate Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing has teamed up with Conducting Creativity Incorporated, led by Wesley Peters, and Backyard Enterprises, led by LeRon McAdoo, to present the annual community-wide celebration of Kwanzaa. This year's theme is Kwanzaa 365, with the goal of planting the seeds necessary to encourage, facilitate, and incorporate the use of 7 principles of Kwanzaa year-round. Due to the pandemic, the celebrations are being held virtually, and we're so glad you're here, and everybody on Zoom world and Facebook land, we are glad you're here, and we hope that you will celebrate with your families and loved ones later today. We strive to keep our community healthy. So Zawadi is a gift given every year on the last day of Kwanzaa. Staying true to Kwanzaa founder, Dr. Malana Karinga's directive of giving the gift of knowledge, we will be collecting new and gently used books that you can drop off at Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing at 1001 Wright Avenue through January 1. And the Storybook Project connects families separated by incarceration through the joy of reading. So this is a really good project that I'm glad we're supporting, and the directors may be on later during the announcements to talk more about it. But thank you so much for being here. Garbo, Hearne, and I welcome you. Wesley Peters is our next speaker.
Habaragani. I need everybody to come off of mute. If y'all been here the last couple of days, y'all know how we do it. Everybody come off of mute. Everybody come off of mute. So Habaragani means what's the news? What's the word? What's up with it? What principle are we riding on today? We are when I say Habaragani, I need everybody to respond back by saying what?
Ujima.
All right, one more time. When I say Habaragani, I need everybody to say what?
Ujima.
Ujima.
All right, Habaragani.
Ujima.
Right on, right on. So Ujima, so collective work. I'm gonna ask for a little bit more audience participation today in the comment section. So I'm gonna pose this question. I'm gonna keep asking it through the duration of this Zoom call. What does Ujima mean to you? Where have you seen Ujima used in your personal life, throughout history? Just in the comments, be real brief, but where have you seen Ujima? Give me your best example of it, and throughout the duration of this Zoom call, I'm gonna be reading from that section. But the next person that you will see is Auna Hearne. She's going to be giving a history of Kwanzaa.
Thank you, Wesley. Let's get into it.
Hello, welcome to the Little Rock citywide commemoration of Kwanzaa. My name is Auna Hearne, and I just wanted to give you all a short background of Kwanzaa and give you an explanation of some of the things that we will use during the ceremony today. So let's get started with what is Kwanzaa. Before we can talk about the holiday, we can kind of talk about the founder, Dr. Malana Karinga. He is a professor and chair of the Department of Africana Studies at California State University. Dr. Karinga created Kwanzaa in 1966, a very tumultuous time in African American history and American history with the Watts Rebellion. Dr. Karinga wanted to create a holiday that was mainly rooted in family and culture and reflection. It's not necessarily a religious holiday. It is a cultural one that celebrates our talents, celebrates each member of the family. And even though it is not celebrated by just one religion, there will be some spiritual qualities that you'll see throughout the ceremony. So the holiday, Kwanzaa, is celebrated every day between December 26th and January 1st. A different principle is celebrated each day that is designed to be about reflection and what we want to do for the new year. Kwanzaa comes from the Swahili phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits. So this is a time of reflection, a time of thinking about what you want for the new year of harvest. A lot of people, they print Kwanzaa with just one A at the end, or you may see it how we printed it here. Fun fact, when they first celebrated Kwanzaa back in 1966, Dr. Karinga had 7 children in his household, and every child wanted to be represented with a letter. So they added the extra A for Kwanzaa. And it's very fitting because we have 7 principles, 7 letters. So Kwanzaa is not a replacement for Christmas. Many people celebrate both. It is celebrated all over the world by different faiths, nationalities, and cultures. It is truly a universal holiday. Swahili, the language that we use to explain what Kwanzaa means, is a language that is spoken widely on the African continent. And the celebration of Kwanzaa is modeled on traditional African harvest festivals. So let's get into our 7 principles. The Nguzo Saba, Nguzo's principles, Saba, 7 principles. You'll see on the screen the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Every day during the week of Kwanzaa, you may hear someone ask, Habari Gani, or what's the news? What's the principle of the day? So when someone asks, hey, Habari Gani, you're supposed to give them the principle of today. So our principles are celebrated each day. Umoja, unity. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kuumba, creativity. Imani, faith. Habari Gani. So the symbols in Kwanzaa table, as you can see, 7 candles on the screen. They're in red, black, and green. Let's talk about why red, black, and green candles. This is the Pan-African flag. Those are the colors of the diaspora. The red stands for the blood that has been shed for the liberation of Black people and those throughout the diaspora. The black is for the color of our skin, for our people. Green is the abundant natural wealth of Africa, those lush landscapes, the things that Africa has contributed to the world. So these colors are very important and significant to our celebration and really help us to reflect on what our people have been through and what we continue to contribute to the world. So Kwanzaa is celebrated different ways by different families, but there are common elements that you will see on every Kwanzaa table. Before we can start talking about the Kwanzaa setup, we have to talk about the foundation. To have a strong house, you have to have a strong foundation. And the foundation of our Kwanzaa setup is the mkeka. That is a straw mat. It's usually almost handmade, and it is the setting for our Kwanzaa setup. Just like Hanukkah has the menorah, the Kwanzaa setup is hosted by the Kinara, that is our candle holder, and the Kinara hosts the Mashuma Saba. There's the word Saba again. There's 7 candles which represent the Nguzo Saba, and a principle is celebrated each day, and we'll light a candle for that principle. As I said earlier, Kwanzaa is from a longer phrase, Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which is first fruits of the harvest. And our harvest is represented here on the table with the Mazeo. Babunzi, Kwanzaa is about family, our community, our culture, and everyone should see themselves in the ceremony, in the symbols on the table. And the Babunzi stands for the number of children in our household. I know we have a lot of children and community members watching, so the children in our community this year will be represented by the kernels on the corn. The first day of Kwanzaa is Umoja, unity. So the Kikombe Cha Umoja is the unity cup, and it will be used in our libation ceremony to lift up those elders who have passed on. And last but not least, we have Zawadi. These are gifts that are given during Kwanzaa. Dr. Karinga, the founder of Kwanzaa, felt like Kwanzaa had become felt like Christmas had become really commercial. People were focused on buying all these gifts and not really focusing on the family and community. And so what he wanted to do was still give gifts during Kwanzaa, but they are to be homemade or knowledge. So if you cook well, if you sew, those are gifts that you can give during Kwanzaa, or books that are sources of knowledge to enrich someone's life. So this is our Kwanzaa setup. And now just a really brief overview of the ceremony. As I said earlier, everyone should be represented in the Kwanzaa ceremony or the setup. We always ask permission of an elder to begin. We recognize their wisdom and their time on this earth. So we just want to get that permission, that blessing to start. Then our host for the day will introduce the principal and give us some reflections. Then we'll have our libation ceremony, which lifts up those members of our community that have passed on, that really embodied Umoja in their lifetime. Our host will introduce our community leader, who will reflect on the day's principle. Then we'll have volunteers, community members, share how they want to embody the day's principle going forward. Our host will come back to introduce our creative expression. We'll enjoy the talents of our best and brightest artisans. Then we'll light the Kinara for the principle of that day, followed by community announcements. We're going to talk about our community Zawadi as well as the next day, and we welcome volunteers. And we'll close out our ceremony with Harambe, which means pull or come together. Thank you so much, and we look forward to celebrating each day of Kwanzaa with you.
Thank you so much, Auna. Thank you so much. Real quick, from Kyla Holmes, family coming together to support family, to help solve family problems and celebrate family. From Felicia Kennedy, when I think of Ujima, I'm reminded of an organization that I volunteered with who made its mission and goal around helping to expose that inner city youth, inner city young girls and young ladies to leadership opportunity. Those of us who are older women made it our responsibility to see that young women and young girls were shown and given opportunities to lead. Anybody else through the duration of this Zoom call, please make sure to give your examples. I want to make sure that I acknowledge everybody. I think it's important that we see these kind of things so we can embody this spirit of Kwanzaa. But thank you, Auna, for the history. Next up, we're going to have libations. Before we have libations, I need permission from any elder on the Zoom call to give us permission to continue on with this celebration. So any elder can give permission.
You have permission.
Thank you so much for your permission. Next, we have LeRon McAdoo. He will give libations.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome. We're about to start this. And look, this is not foreign to you. The urban culture and Black culture for years have been pouring out a little liquor before they drink, right? So we understand a libation. It goes deep. It's from a place that we're already familiar with. So what is a libation? It's a prayer. It's a recognition of those who need to be recognized. So the first people that we want to recognize the elders, the ancestors, those who gave impact to us, gave us information, empowered us. That's who we want to lift up. We got names in our heads. Some of them are big names like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Sojourner Truth. Other names are big names in our lives like my grandfather, Thelma McAdoo, or my grandmother, who I will lift up today. So whoever that name is, on the count of three, say that name. 1, 2, 3. Charlotte McAdoo.
Henry King, Dr. Kennedy.
The second people that we want to lift up is us. Us, the great us. We are here. Why are we here? Because it's our time to be held accountable. It's our time to be present. It's our time to be the caretakers of this world, of this life, and we have to pass on something to somebody. So we have a responsibility right now to be on our game. So lift up your very own name on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
And Mathis-Morrow.
And the third and final people that we want to lift up are those that are not here yet, the ones to come. The leaders of tomorrow, our seed, our legacy, those we will teach the ways that we want them to go in. Those people who will be here when we are not, when we have long gone, when we are buried and we do not longer exist in the physical realm. We want to lift up this name. So on the count of 3, say the future. 1, 2, 3, the future. And lastly, to close this out, we need an amen. We need a real talk. We need a no cap. And the way we say it, the way we say that in Kwanzaa is Ashe. So on the count of 3, say Ashe. 1, 2, 3.
Ashe.
Amen.
Appreciate you, Mr. McAdoo, for the libations. We're gonna keep this ceremony rolling. The next I'm sorry. Jane and AJ are going to do the
So
calendar.
keep it moving. You're going to the panel.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just saw them right here. The next speaker that you will see is Dr. Kyla Holmes. I wanted Dr. Kyla Holmes to lead this panel simply because of all the work that she does. You'll hear more about it, but Birthing the Gifts is her nonprofit, and they embody this principle of Ujima. So definitely wanted Dr. Holmes to host this panel. So Dr. Holmes, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Wesley. I appreciate it, just being able to be here during this Kwanzaa celebration. So as Wesley said, my name is Dr. Kyla Holmes, and I'm a clinical psychologist, primarily working with youth, young adults, and families, and the founder of Birthing the Gifts, which, like he said, is a nonprofit organization that promotes the social and emotional wellness of folks in our community and provides a safe space for them to grow and develop their God-given gifts and doing different community events and so forth. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to briefly introduce the panelists so we can talk a little bit about how we think about and practice Ujima. So we have with us Mr. Cary Crawford, who's a psychology professional who's been in the community and working at Belander Smith. He's worked at Tucker Commons and the Women's Unit. He's worked in Arkadelphia and Alexander as a school psychologist. And he's also the president of the Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals. So we're glad to have him here today. We also have Tracy Singer and Rhonda Bell-Holmes, my parents. I refer to them as Dad Holmes and Mom Holmes, but they're the co-authors of the Word Diet books, co-founders and developers of Kingdom University's Kingdom Processing Prayer School, and inspirational speakers. Their mission or God-given assignment is to help all who desire receive their answered prayers guaranteed, so that we live the good and abundant life He has planned for each of us. So thank you all for being here today. And we also have Dr. Karen Mathis-Morrow, who is a graduate of UAPB, Fisk, Tennessee State University, Vanderbilt, and also has degrees in counseling psychology and clinical psychology. She's worked as a mental health professional for over 25 years and currently working as the Southeast Region Mental Health Director for Rite of Passage, where she provides training and curriculum development for youth adjudicated with criminal offenses. She's passionate about ensuring incarcerated youth receive the treatment needed to decrease recidivism rates and address trauma the youth have experienced. So we're glad we have an amazing group of panelists here today. And I really believe that they have all embodied the principle of Ujima and also practiced it throughout their careers and in their professional lives. So we just wanted to give them an opportunity to express how they've done that. I do want to kind of, in this process, I did kind of consult with some people in my family who I feel like practice Ujima as well. And one person, Dr. Ruby Burgess, I just want to kind of state something she told me, which I thought was powerful. She was saying we work for each other. When we practice Ujima, we work for each other. And everything we do, we are thinking of the collective rather than the individual. All we do in all aspects of our life, professional, personal, family, social, or spiritual, promotes the good of the collective. I am responsible for the collective. If I see anyone suffering in need of spiritual support, guidance, or in any type of need, I see this as my responsibility in some way. This is a part of our purpose. This is a way that we can birth our gifts. So again, we want to talk about how are we purposefully working for the collective? How am I using my gifts for the good of humankind and for the good of African people? And again, I really feel like the panelists do this. When Wesley asked me to kind of talk about this concept, he mentioned this idea of making sure that as we climb, we also reach back, and how mentorship is a way of doing that. So I wanted to kind of direct the first question to Dr. Mathis-Morrow. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name all the way correctly. But if you can speak some, because you work with youth, right? You work with youth who have entered the juvenile system, and you have spoken about how there's a need for mentoring youth to even prevent them from entering the system. If you could speak some about that type of mentorship.
Yes, hello everyone, and I am very, very honored to be here to speak on this topic. But my statement is going to be posed as a question. If we had adequate mentorship, particularly from Black males or African American males that are mentoring other young boys, would we have the school to prison pipeline that we have in our country? There is such a need for males to come in and show these young boys how to be a man, how to tie a tie, why you wear a undershirt under your white collared shirt, just simple things like that. How to respect a woman, how to respect yourself. And in doing so, if we have these males that are mentoring other boys who are becoming fathers at the ages of 13, 14, and 15, would we have the incarceration rate and the recidivism rate that we have in our country? So there is a need, and not just males. I focus a lot on males because of my research on the effects of father absence in the home. So that's why I'm saying males. I don't want to leave our girls out there too, but there are plenty of women. If you go to a prison or go to a juvenile system, you're going to find most of the employees to be women. But how are these women helping the boys to become men? So we need our male mentors.
Yeah. I think that's great. And honestly, just from a personal perspective, I've seen Mr. Crawford be in a role of mentor. So I'm definitely glad, Dr. Mathis-Morrow, you mentioned this idea of mentorship and how that's important to do that. And Cary, if you can speak some to how you've demonstrated mentorship, particularly I feel like on Philander's campus, you've done that over the years. Please speak to that.
Okay, I agree with Dr. Morrow wholeheartedly. What we need to do as men is reach out to these young men and let them know the role that a man should have. First of all, spiritually in their relationship to God, the Heavenly Father. Secondly, to themselves, and also to the people that surround them in their lives, their parents, their brothers and their sisters. And what I try to do as a professor at Philander Smith College is reach out to these young men and let them know it's more to a man than having a child. I'll put it like that. And once you have a child, you need to have ownership of that child and be the type of person, individual, and remain in that child's life. It's really hard. These young men are growing up a lot of times in families when they don't have a male role model. And you have to really stress to them the necessity of them breaking that circle and understanding they need to be the first one in the family, if there's not been one, to stay in the household, to be supportive to the wife, to the mother of their children, and most importantly, to engage their mind spiritually, educationally, and socially so they can be a role model for those who follow after them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. I appreciate that. And I'm just gonna put a plug in for that and brag on Cary for a bit, that he really does that, you all. He really sees that as his responsibility, working collectively with other men, other people in the community to really provide that support and mentorship to our Black males, and then also our Black females as well. Another kind of aspect of ways of practicing Ujima that I really want to highlight, we talked about mentorship, we've talked about doing that with our young Black men and women, but also I want to talk about this concept of family, how we can do this with family. So I talked to another one of my aunts about Ujima, and one of the things this was Dr. Laverne Bell Tolliver, and one of the things she mentioned is how the principle of Ujima really does line up with Dr. Robert Hill's concept of the strengths of the African American family. So anybody want to look into his work, is Dr. Robert Hill, who talks about the strengths of the African American family. And one of those strengths is the concept of kinship in the extended family system. So one aspect of that is this idea of connectedness, that we are all connected as family. And that's part of our purpose. That's part of what we do to work together to support families, celebrate families, solve each other's problems, be there for each other. And she talked about how the sense of connectedness does extend beyond blood family and extends to the sense of community. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about Ujima, that we're all responsible for change. We're all responsible for each other, and also a positive work ethic. So I want to kind of shift the conversation over to this idea of family. And I'm going to ask my mom Holmes and dad Holmes, if you could just talk some about family and kind of this idea of practicing Ujima through the concept of family.
Daughter. We are so excited to do this family section discussion because, just like this stated all day so far, is that we have a responsibility to build and maintain our immediate family and our extended family together, to help our families with their problems. Those problems, like you say, become our problems, and we have to solve that together. But to do this, I believe some practical things need to be addressed. First of all, here, we must first look foundationally and at the root of our own problems before we attempt to try to solve the problems or to help others. That's if we want to be effective. So, for example, when you're on an airplane, a flight attendant, the first thing they would say, put your mask on first, your oxygen mask, and then you put it on your children. The question is, why do they say that? Because you can't help others until you first take action of yourself. And now the goal is to be effective to aid others. So we feel very strongly about that. Emotionally broken people cannot or find it difficult to help people who emotionally need help. They can't do it. As the Bible says, the blind cannot lead the blind. And that's an example of that. That's why I want to foundation start with that before we get some demonstrations here. Again, remember, personal self-care is first. It's very, to me, vital. That's what we learned together, husband and wife. I had to work individually. She had to work individually before we came together. You can reach out to professional mental health providers. You can go to family. You can go to friends and personal mentorship, like that's been talked about. Now you're ready to start to really working on your relationship with your spouse or significant others, to your children, which we feel is important, and to your grandchildren, extremely important, and to your friends, and to anybody else in the community. You can help them effectively. You must be intentional and on purpose. And that's what we do. Everything that we do, intentional and on purpose. Now, Remember the immediate family, we must communicate on a what? Regular basis and on purpose. There must be respect for one another. There must be caring, must be love, loving, and listening to each other and being a support system. Solving problems together must be always our main focus and attention.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to give you a few examples of some things that we do in our family. One of the things that we have implemented, well, we have family reunions, like a lot of people have family reunions, but in a lot of our family reunions, we also have workshops. And so like one of our workshops that we had a long time ago was that we had a panel of elders who told about their careers. And so they were telling about their careers, their experiences, so that the young people then could learn from that and could ask questions so that they can consider different types of careers, but also if they were already in their careers, what kind of things they could learn from the elders in navigating their own careers. So we had workshops like that. We also had a workshop one time where it was a very raw workshop where a couple of people, I don't know if they were in the elders category because this was a while ago, but they're older than me. And they were telling mistakes that they had made, big mistakes that a lot of people would consider them big mistakes, but we all make mistakes. And so it's things from drug abuse and mistakes. It could be seen as mistakes or seen as choices that they made that had consequences in their lives. So it could be drug abuse or abortions or just a number of things. And they talked about it and the young people were hearing that. And so, and it made them know that you can come back from anything.
Absolutely.
And the family is there to help you. And so they knew that they were in a group of people of elders who had not made all the right choices all the time. So it helped them to see that. And so that helped them to then relax and know that they could come to anyone in the family with any issue that they had. Another thing that we've done is we developed, well, we've been having some family history calls lately, well, the last almost 10 months, we have these family history calls. And it is to talk about the history of the family, to talk about those who have passed on, and to just give insight into the type of people in our family. And it is something that was then recorded for those who will watch it in the future, and that will just help connect, see how we're all connected in our family. And so many things, it's just layers and layers of things that came out of that, that just connected us as a family. Let's see, and well, I could go on and on with that. So I'm just gonna stop it right there.
Yeah, I appreciate you all sharing that, because like you say, we could go on and talk about how it's been so many demonstrations of Ujima throughout our family. And just as me kind of listening in on that, it really inspires me. And I feel like that's really been one of the lessons learned, or one of the outcomes of having these conversations in family reunions and in family gatherings, is that it inspires each generation to know it's not just about me. We've had so many people in our family to demonstrate collective work and responsibility, and that it's important for us to do things that give back to our family, to our community, and no matter what age we are, we can do that. So it's been great to see. We don't have to wait until we get to the position of elder in order to do some of these things, that we can all demonstrate this at every age. So thank you all for sharing that. And I know we're getting down to our closing and our wrap up time, but I really want, I think Cary I just want to go back to you, Cary, if you don't mind. You really have done a good job, I feel like, and not only in your mentorship, but connecting with the community. So if you could, and through the Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals, definitely a way that you've done that. And I'm just wondering if you could speak to kind of what motivates you. You call yourself sometimes a foot soldier. You'll go out there and get things done. If you can talk about that some, Cary, and what motivates that.
What motivates me is basically what your parents just said. My father was a minister. My father had a degree in psychology. He was a teacher. He got really involved with the community all his life. And I've just felt his presence. And sometimes just feeling the presence of somebody who has a desire, has the love for himself and for his community, just carries on. And I will plug in our association. We have mindful minutes every month. If you've not plugged into Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals, one of the things we've been doing for the last year or so since the pandemic is really trying to reach out to the communities with subjects and articles and conversations that help strengthen us. I think the last one we did is on childhood depression. And I think it's really important for us to sit down and talk about these things, let parents know and understand the symptoms that their child may be having, but also to give them support and let them know that they're not by themselves. But like I said, I'm just a foot soldier. Dr. Holmes, the younger Dr. Holmes, has been a mentor to me for a lot of reasons. And I just love people. I love the idea of really plugging. Me and my family, we have family meetings every other month where we get online and we go all the United States. My family, my oldest brother, his family, we go all throughout everyone plugs in, we have a Zoom meeting, we talk to one another, we encourage one another. And I think it starts at home. It really starts at home. You have to, like you said, starts at home, then you spread out from outside your home.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cary. I appreciate that. And I'm wondering if Dr. Morrow, if you don't mind speaking some, I just imagine, and we have not talked about this, but I imagine in your 25 plus years and working in these systems, you have worked to advocate for youth. You have worked to advocate and kind of change systems or address system issues. If you can speak some for how you have taken responsibility to work in these settings and not just thinking about yourself, right? Thinking about the system. If you can speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. I try to bring out the fact that number one, in our community, we are, we're spiritual people and we pray, but I bring out that you can have Jesus and a therapist, that it is okay to have both. I also bring out that Black people have had trauma too. Now, it's your responsibility to get your healing, but a lot of our behaviors and what we're seeing in our kids can be explained through the trauma that they have experienced. So I try to bring out in our community, there is no shame in getting help for yourself, that we've got to remove the stigmas of mental health. Just like when we say we got the sugar, we go and we get our diabetes taken care of, your mental health is just as important. And if not, then that's a cancer that is going to grow and consume our community. So, self-care.
Excellent. So we've talked about self-care, health, and wellness throughout this panel. I appreciate you guys. You all can probably notice, everybody listening, we could probably go on for another hour or two talking about these topics. This is just barely the surface level with this. So I'd like to thank you, panelists, and I just want to go back and just kind of summarize some of these key points we've been talking about, but talking about the importance of remembering the principle of Ujima and that we all have to work together. It's all a part of our responsibility, whatever gift we have, whatever that gift is, a gift of teaching, a gift of mentorship, a gift of research, a gift of counseling, a gift of prayer, a gift of whatever it is, use that gift in a way that is for the collective. That's for the collective in whatever way, in your personal life, professional lives. It's a way to do that as we go forward for the rest of this calendar year, for these next few days and going into 2022, that we can practice this principle of Ujima through mentorship, through how we relate to our family, in our communities, and just activating, being a disruptor, people might say, in systems, doing what we need to do to work towards solving problems in these systems. So I'm just gonna leave you with this question to ask yourself: how can I purposefully work for the collective? How am I using my gift for the good of humankind, for the good of African people in our families and in our communities? So thank you all so much for listening to us, and thank you, panelists, for just sharing your gifts and expertise with us. Thank you, Wesley.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Y'all came with some heat. You definitely came with some heat. My favorite part, like and people are talking about it in the comments. I I've never seen a family reunion where literally like therapy was happening. You know, when family comes together, that's it's healing that happens just in that, but to be intentional with, no, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna have tough conversations. We're gonna come to the family reunion and literally have surgery. So that's actually really cool. So thank you, Dr. Holmes. Thank you, panelists. And we have another example from Facebook from Sabrina McCoy, and she said, Ujima, I have interviewed over 100 of my family members to create a nonfiction historical book of families of our families. I was motivated to write this book because I didn't want another generation to pass without the knowledge of our ancestors' stories. I've been able to historically document my African American and indigenous families back to 1786. That's actually really cool because my aunt Karen Morrow does similar work. Every holiday season, she has updates that she's picked up from various ancestral sites, and um she's always digging around in the bones. So I think that's therapeutic in itself too, exactly where you came from. So thanks again to everybody who commented. Thanks again to the panelists. Thanks again to Dr. Holmes. I would like to invite back to the stage LeRon McAdoo, Backyard Enterprises.
LeRon McAdoo, and I am presenting the Little Rock 2022 Kwanzaa 365 Artistic Expression. Let us be activated by this recording artist, rapper, singer, and great son of mine, CEO Norel. Yeah. Even as a chicken, been on you, man, I'm only on a daily basis. Like I'm a bucket, yeah, I started off small, but we're building up 100. I just know I exit, only cause I'm and I ain't capping, I'm chilling in the Maybach with the Ray-Bans in the Dutch. Letting cake stand got me higher than the groom. When I get back to the crib, she already in the mood. She say I'm top two, but you know I'm not two. Just give me the ball, get up on my way. Yeah, I be falling, I be in and out the state, and you know, got me going out of space. Now, slip to the game, I can't get out of place. First place, might as well make that my name. I hate swerving, but I'm staying in my lane. Shit, I never change. This switched up, I don't think about it now. I just stand all black like a power out. I can't even count how many times that I've been counting closest to you, the most dangerous. It hurt me when I found it out. The love was real, so tell me how about now? Moving circles, I done hit it out there around the past. Young city on going off, and that's an understatement. Even as a chick, yeah, could been a money man. I'm only at the dead basis, like I'm the under. Yeah, I started off small, but we're building up 100. I just hit on my ex, only cause I paid you. Yeah, you focus on them. I be paper chasing. The charge was a go. I just wanna be my gauge. Don't be sorry they were sleeping. That's an understatement. I just ran through the city just to look at grab. I put you in your place, then I put it in her bag. Yeah, keep me up. I guess they be keeping tabs. It's so goofy. I just sit back and I laugh. Anti-social, I was dissing some Corona. Young CEO, she say she loving my persona. Baby, I'm close. I really do what I wanna. I don't wanna kick it. You should hit up Barcelona. Young CEO, I'm going off, and that's an understatement. Even as a chick, yeah, could been a money man. I'm only at the dead basis, like I'm the under. Yeah, I started off small, but we're building up 100. On my ex, only cause I paid. Yeah, you focus on them. I be paper chasing. The child choose to go. I just wanna be my gauge. Don't be sorry they were sleeping. That's an understatement.
Started off small, now we building up 100 acres. That's a segue for tomorrow. Y'all need to make sure that y'all here tomorrow. Gonna talk about cooperative economics, and we are passing the torch to the younger generation. So the next people that you will see and hear from is Jaden and AJ, as they will do our candle lighting.
Abaragani. My name is Jaden Glover, and as today is the third day of Kwanzaa, we are celebrating the principle Ujima. Ujima means collective work and responsibility. We also practice this today by helping the community or anyone around us. We also should make sure that everything we need to do is taken care of, as this is our responsibility. This applies to me by making sure all my chores are done, as well as helping out with any other jobs in the household.
Responsibility means to me taking a part of something, like littering. If you litter less, less animals would die, which will be a benefit of you being responsible. Collective work means to be working is for coming together and getting things done right. For example, me helping my brother cut the yard. One person has one section and the other person has the other section. And this will benefit you by getting done faster.
I definitely agree. Thank you so much, gentlemen. So in the spirit of Umoja, we lit the middle black candle. And in the spirit of Kujichagulia, which was the second day of Kwanzaa, we lit the outside red. And today, in the spirit of Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility, you all lit our outside green. So hopefully you will join us tomorrow as we celebrate the fourth day of Kwanzaa, which is Ujima, which is cooperative economics. Thank you so much, gentlemen. At this time, I would like to share some announcements. Let me go ahead and share my screen. As I have stated a couple of times already, we are going to be celebrating the fourth day of Kwanzaa tomorrow, which is Ujima cooperative economics, to build and maintain our stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together. We have really enjoyed all these amazing panelists. So I know tomorrow is going to be great. Thank you so much, Wesley, for bringing the heat every day, and we will have a new creative contribution presented by Backyard Enterprises. So we will be back here, same Zoom link tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. As my mom stated earlier, we do give Zawadi, which is Swahili for gift, every day on the last day. And we are going to be giving a gift of knowledge. Our recipient this year is the Storybook Project of Arkansas. Do we have a representative from the Storybook Project here today? Yes, Ms. Pam Presley.
Yes, and Denise Chai as well.
Yes, would you like to tell us more about your organization?
Denise, are you here?
I think I saw her, yes. Ms. Denise.
Here you are. Oh, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm Denise Chai. I'm board president for the Storybook Project of Arkansas, and Pam Presley is our board secretary. So it's our great honor to be here. And I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about our program, just to introduce it to you. So our mission is to keep families connected during incarceration through the joy of reading. And as we learned today, Ujima means collective work and responsibility. And I think this is really what our volunteer-led organization strives to do. And this is also what mass incarceration requires of us, because when one family member is incarcerated, really the whole family is. So for over 25 years, we've been visiting prisons and recording incarcerated parents, grandparents, uncles, and aunts, reading a book and giving a message to the children in their lives. And our readers also get the opportunity to write a message in the book, and then we mail the book and the recording to the children. So it's a very simple program, but from the feedback we've gotten, we think it really makes a difference in the lives of the families we serve. So while there are a lot of volunteer programs in the prisons, we think ours is kind of different because we really serve the whole family. We give the incarcerated family member an opportunity to be a good role model and to be present in their home. This connection also, through a book lets the children know that they are loved and missed. And as we heard on the panel, children of incarcerated parents are very vulnerable to trauma and other adverse childhood experiences. We also give the reader an opportunity to give a message to the family members and kind of rebuild and strengthen those bridges too, because those are relationships that will be so important after they're released. And just lastly, so importantly, we bring as many volunteers as we can into the prisons. And that's to, that's to let them sit across the table from people that society has forgotten, and to relate to them as fellow parents or grandparents, or just as a person like they are, whose life has just taken a different path. So just to close, I want to express our deep gratitude to this group and to Garbo for partnering with us on the book drive. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming today, and we look forward to presenting the books to you. Once again, just remember, books can be dropped off at Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing, 1001 Wright Avenue, and up until the very last day. So bring your new or gently used books, any topic, any subject, they need books. So we're excited about that. We do have a special event coming tonight. Marita Golden will be in conversation with Janice Kearney. She is on our call today. So I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce her event. Janice Kearney, are you there?
I am.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. And I've so enjoyed this session. Learned a lot, and am very much inspired to be a part of the next 3, I think, that you all have left. But tonight, Marita Golden is going to be talking about her book on strong Black women. And this book has been so very embraced by Black women around the country. And I think Arkansas women will be very, they'll learn a lot and they'll gain a lot from Marita. I've known her a long time. She's a teacher, and she teaches and she shares her life stories, but also stories from women around the country who she's talked to. So I am very much looking forward to tonight, and I hope that you all will join us. And I think it starts at 7 o'clock tonight.
It is 7 o'clock. If you see my screen, you can register for this free event at www.tinyyurl.com/the-strong-black-woman-1228. So definitely join us. We do have a copy of The Strong Black Woman at Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing. One last announcement that we would like to share is we actually have a gift for you all, for the youngest members of our community. Author Derek Barnes, he saw that the critical race theory bug had hit Little Rock in the Arkansas area, and he wants to combat all of that foolishness by providing a copy of the children's books titles that you see here on the screen. We do have several remaining copies, and we want you all to come pick them up. There's first come, first serve, 1 copy per child. Mention this announcement and you have a beautiful free children's book title, any one of the ones that you see here on the screen. So we are excited. And our final announcement is the 1619 project donation. We are partnering with the Arkansas Lighthouse Academy, the Jacksonville Lighthouse Charter School, to get them copies of the 1619 project, which was a huge project by Nicole Hannah-Jones in the New York Times Magazine. We are still doing the book drive to get them books. So if you're interested, there is a link on the banner, bookshop.org/1619. So Bookshop is a independent bookstore incubator, and they have partnered with independent bookstores like Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing to donate copies of the 1619 projects to several institutions. And so we have a partnership. This has another month to go, so let's definitely get up to those final numbers. That's all the announcements I have today. I'm going to turn it over to Wesley for closing us out. Go ahead, Wesley.
All right. I need everybody one more time to come off mute. I need everybody to come off mute. I need full participation. We heard from some amazing people. It just seems like, honestly, we all need to go and visit Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing. some giveaways going on. It's some amazing projects that we can all participate in. So this looks like we all need to go to Pyramid within this week, and I think we can make that happen. So when I say, did my sound go out?
No, we hear you.
When I say Habar Ghani, I need everybody to respond back by saying what?
Ujima.
All right. And Ujima means what?
Collective
Collective work and
Responsibility.
Okay, here I go. Habar Ghani. All right, today when we do our Harambe, we have to say it 3 times. And I failed to mention what Harambe meant the last 2 days, so I'll explain today. It's very simple. It simply means to come together. And this is a great principle to come together on Ujima. So we're gonna lift our fist up. I'm hoping that everybody who I can't see has their fist up. And when I count to 3, we're gonna say Harambe 3 times. Are y'all ready?
Yep.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Harambe.
All right, I see everybody tomorrow, same time, 1 o'clock. It was great seeing and hearing from everybody. 1 o'clock tomorrow. Y'all have a great rest of the day.